morning. This is Faith at Faith and Books. I have a few minutes this morning because the 5-year-old had to go to a checkup. So his mom is off with him, and so that means that I have a little bit of time before my grandson comes over to watch him. So I thought I would do a Friday updates. And the first thing I wanted to talk about, though, is that I'm on Goodreads. I'm trying to be a better Goodreads member this year, and I'm using that to record all my reading. I used to do it through a blog, but the blog just felt like a burden because you always have to write something. And since I'm doing this, I don't feel like I have the time to actually write. So anyway, I decided I'd give Goodreads a try. And I want more friends, so I'm going to link to my Goodreads page or whatever it is you call it. And if anybody wants to friend me on Goodreads, is that the terminology used for Goodreads? I think it's friending. Please do. I really would like to have more. I have some friends because I joined like a long time ago, 2009 or something like that. And but I didn't stick with it. And a lot of those people, honestly, I don't even know who some of them are. And a lot of them are from my homeschooling days, and there's just a handful of those. And I haven't really been in contact with them or anything. So anyway, I would like people from the BookTube world to be friends with me on Goodreads. So I'm going to put that link below. So I'll just do a quick update. It's been a pretty good reading week. I'm back to the brothers Karamazov. I always have to think. And I think what I'm going to do today, or not today, but this weekend, excuse me, is try to read up to the March 18th date, which is when they're having another Discord, or it's not Discord, but they're having another talking session. And I'm going to try and read it up to that this weekend. So let's see, I'm on page 432, and I got to read up to 512. See if I can do that this weekend. That might be hard, but I'm going to push. Just because I'm having real trouble following this narrative and this narrative. They're both, I'm seeing similarities, parallels in them. I'm only 100 pages into Les Miserables, but there's such, classic, absorbing, dramatic novels. It's hard for me to read them both at the same time. I'm kind of getting almost confused. And there are similarities in the themes, of justice and goodness and evil and what it is to be holy and that sort of thing. So I'm finding that next time I won't do this. So if I read this, if I finish this up this weekend, up to that particular point in the novel, then I can focus on just reading this. But then I'll go back to this on Thursday when we have that meeting about it, that discussion about it, and then I can resume reading it. So I'd like to get another 100 pages into this. If I read this over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then on Monday through, Thursday, maybe, or even Friday, I'll try to get 100 pages more into this, or whatever I can get into. So it's going pretty well, in terms of enjoying the reading, but it's hard to keep the narrative separate. They're getting confused in my mind. But this is quite exciting. I'm finding that Mitya, or Dmitri, is over the top hysterical and emotional all the time. And it turns out I can only take so much of that. And then I just get irritated with the character. You can see how he's just doing himself in because he has no self-control. And this, I'm just finding this really fascinating, the impact that this bishop, Monsignor Bienvenu, has on Jean Valjean. Really, really interesting. But another thing that's been really wonderful is, and I'm reading it on my Kindle, And I got this because Alan at the Lonely Bookshelf, who had a bad accident at work, so I hope that you recover quickly, Alan. But he suggested, or he didn't say, but he mentioned a book that he got called, I'm going to go to the cover. Hope I can get back to where I last was. Wait, didn't do it. I should have set this up beforehand. Come on. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, hold on. Go to, and then beginning. Oh, it says cover. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Anyway, I'm reading this book. Dostoevsky's Incarnational Realism, Finding Christ Among the Karamazovs. And it's way over my head, but the little I'm getting makes so much sense. It's really an in for me in understanding this whole novel. Because I read this, as I said before, I read this novel, or I listened to it on audio several years ago, or a few years ago, and I wanted to read it in real life. I wanted to read it actually so I could get more out of it, because I knew I was missing a ton. And then I was frustrated because I started reading it again and I wasn't getting that much more out of it. So it was like, what's wrong? I just don't have the key to understanding what Dostoevsky is trying to say. Well, this, to me, is the key. And it just makes me want to study theology because it's just so incredibly profound. And this guy, Paul Contino, he cites so many sources, just Charles Taylor is a philosopher I've been interested in, and just so many more. Thomas Aquinas, of course, and just so many more really interesting. Kierkegaard, Kant, just so many. And it's really, really interesting. And it makes me want to study more theology because I want to. There's so much vocabulary that's over my head. I don't understand the concepts that he's referring to with this terminology. But still, the glimmer that I'm getting really adds so much to my understanding of the novel. So I highly recommend that as a resource if you're trying to get through the Brothers Karamazov and you feel a little lost. I mean, you'll feel lost with the theology too, but there's enough there. There's enough there that it's a real benefit. Anyway, I am enjoying this. I'm 100 pages in. As I said, I'm going to try and get 100 more. I mean, this is a huge book, so it's only going to be a dent. I'm not going to finish it by the end of March, obviously, but I'm still enjoying it immensely, just loving it. And then I decided to put off reading my my mystery, my Beatrix Potter Cottage Tales mystery, Holly Howe, because too many narratives going on. I really, really don't like reading two novels at the same time. I like reading a novel and a nonfiction. And these two overpowering classics of Les Miserables and the Brothers Karamazov, it's just, I can't do anything more than that. So so I gave up on that, but I still am going to read it. It's just right now it's not a good time for me. And then the last thing is, I'm really getting back to being involved with my church, and I'm also on this working group for the diocese, trying to establish a regular series of informational and sort of spiritually guiding webinars on creation care, on the environment and spirituality. And so we're thinking about making it, dedicating it to Saint Hildegard of Bingen. And I was asked to write up a little summary for the group, which I did. And while doing research on that, I stumbled across a couple of books that I ordered. I only got one in so far, but I got this book, Holy Women by Pope Benedict XVI. He is the one that canonized her, even though she had been venerated for centuries. She's from the 12th century. And then he also elevated her to doctor of the church. So, and in this book, the very first part, I've already started reading it, is on Saint Hildegard of Bingen. And he includes a lot of other saints, some of which I know, Julian of Norwich, but then there's many I don't know. Saint Bridget of Sweden, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, but then there's like Blessed Angela of Foligno, Saint Joan of Arc, of course, Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint Juliana of Cornelon. I don't know, that's Marguerite. I don't even know how to say that. D''Oingt. Anyway, so I think this will be really interesting. I just started reading it because I'm so interested. Saint Matilda of Hackborn. Anyway, Saint Hildegard of Bingen was amazing. She was a polymath. She wrote music that is still performed today. She was fascinated with botany and the healing properties of plants. So she wrote treatises on that. And then she also wrote works on theology and spirituality. She was a mystic. She had visions. She established 2 new monasteries for women. And she was so revered in her own time that even though she was a woman, 2 popes allowed her to give public sermons, which that was unheard of back then. But she was allowed to travel and teach, which is kind of amazing. And so she was a brilliant genius. And we're still, and her letters, they saved a lot of her letters, and they're amazing too. And she wrote poetry. She was amazing. So I'm excited about learning about her, and I'm excited about reading this book. And then I also ordered the Penguin book called Selected Writings, I think, of Hildegard, something like that, Hildegard of Bingen. So I'm waiting for that to come in. So I think that's it for me. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? I know there was, but one day I am going to change the title of this. I'm going to change it to Faith's Garden and Library. But, I haven't had the time, the wherewithal to sit down and figure all that out. But one day I will. I really will. I'm slow, but I'm steady. So anyway, that's it from me. So that's my update. Happy reading, and I hope you're all doing well. Bye-bye.